In the last 2 seasons, Erling Haaland and Man City have turned the Premier League into their personal playground. The citizens twice staged incredible comebacks, surpassing Arsenal to stand atop the English football summit. And Haaland, with his magical left foot, became an unsolvable nightmare for any defense in the league. But in the current campaign, things that seem to have become habits in the Premier League, such as Man City winning most of their matches or Haaland destroying most defenses, have suddenly become a luxury, having gone winless in 7 of their last 8 matches in the league. Pep Guardiola's team has now even dropped to 7th place in the standings, trailing leaders Liverpool by 12 points. This has nearly extinguished their chances of defending their title. Haaland, in his last 6 games, has also become surprisingly ordinary, with the Norwegian star only scoring a single goal, especially in the big games. These matches, which should have been a stage for the 24-year-old to showcase his class, saw him practically disappear. As a result, the former Borussia Dortmund star has lost his familiar number 1 spot in the Premier League Golden Boot race, being overtaken by Liverpool's Mohamed Salah by 2 goals. Why are Haaland and Man City so poor this season? Man City continues to show a dramatic decline, with no signs of stopping. In their last 12 matches across all competitions, Man City has suffered 9 defeats, 2 draws, and managed only 1 victory, that being against Nottingham Forest in the Premier League. It seemed as if the victory against Nottingham signaled the end of their crisis. However, immediately after, the Sky Blues had 4 consecutive winless matches in all competitions, including a 0-2 loss in the UEFA Champions League to Juventus. That loss also dropped them to 12th place with only 9 points, just 2 points above the bottom spots, and facing the risk of not reaching the knockout stage if they do not improve their form in the last 2 matches of the league phase. Pep and his players will certainly be packing their bags early. In the Premier League, Man City's form is not much better. In their last 4 winless games, which included 3 Premier League matches, Man City managed only a draw and suffered 2 consecutive defeats, especially the defeat in the Manchester Derby. Despite opening the scoring and leading for most of the game, they still lost to their neighbors with a score of 1-2 due to silly defensive errors. In the most recent round of the Premier League, they suffered a similar fate against Aston Villa, leaving empty-handed. Before these 2 matches, Man City also drew disappointingly against Crystal Palace, with only 1 point after the last 3 rounds. Pep Guardiola's army has fallen to 7th place, from a position of competing to defend their crown. They are now fighting for a spot in next season's European competitions. In this poor run of form, Erling Haaland's performance has also been unremarkable. After scoring 11 goals in his first 10 games in the Premier League, the Norwegian striker has only managed 2 goals in the last 7 rounds. Man City's decline has also led to the downturn of their key players. One of the main reasons for this is that the midfield of the Sky Blues is showing signs of age and injuries, leaving Pep Guardiola with less than ideal options for the central area, which has directly affected Haaland. The Norwegian striker is not getting many balls, and he has practically disappeared in recent matches. Rodri's injury, which has forced him to be sidelined for an extended period, has had a significant impact not only on the team's form but also on their tactics. In the absence of the Spanish midfielder, Pep has tried different solutions such as Gundogan and Kovacic, but they have failed to fill the void. Even worse, these players have committed errors, leading to unwanted results. Without backup plans, and with the names they currently have, they cannot make up for the inevitable situation that has befallen Pep Guardiola and his team. For the first time in history under the leadership of the Spanish strategist, they are facing a series of poor matches, with 9 defeats, 2 draws, and only 1 win in their last 12 games. Furthermore, after 2 consecutive seasons of cruising to victory, their opponents have gradually become stronger and have managed to identify and exploit the weaknesses in their gameplay and tactics. It is somewhat understandable that Man City are being defeated. In addition, misguided decisions in their transfer strategy have also led to the unwanted outcomes that they are experiencing now. A host of talented young players with the potential to replace them, such as Cole Palmer and Alvarez, have been sold. At this time, these players are shining at the clubs they chose for the next step in their careers. It is enough to analyze the negatives of Haaland and Man City like this, but the 2024 to 2025 season is not over yet. And there is hope for the Norwegian star and the citizens, as there are still goals to strive for in nearly the remaining two-thirds of the journey. There are 21 rounds left in the Premier League, and while the chance to successfully overthrow Liverpool is slim, as the current champions, with a squad boasting some of the biggest names in world football, Man City is not allowed to give up, even if there is only a 1% chance of defending their crown. Also, the team still has a prestigious Champions League to try to make up for a disappointing season. Of course, with their inconsistent performances in domestic competitions, what hope does Man City have of conquering Europe? But with their quality, squad value, and a brilliant manager like Guardiola, no one is allowed to dismiss the citizens as a serious contender for the championship. While there is still time, Guardiola and his players are not allowed to give up. The same goes for Haaland. If the 24-year-old still dreams of prestigious individual awards like the Ballon d'Or or FIFA the Best, but it is clear that both Haaland and Guardiola need to make no small changes compared to the first half of the season in order to turn the tide in the difficult situation they have found themselves in. First of all, Guardiola needs to admit his mistake with the statement, "I am happy with the Man City squad in the pre-season," and enter the transfer market in the coming winter to help the club get the right deals, scratch the right itch, and help Man City return to their familiar track. As analyzed above, Guardiola's renowned midfield has deteriorated in terms of both age and form. In the context of an increasingly packed and fierce fixture list in the coming period, it will be difficult for players over the age of 30, like Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, or Ilkay Gundogan, to bear all the responsibility, signing a top-class number 6 to replace Rodri, who will miss the remainder of the season due to an ACL injury, along with a creative midfielder to ease the burden on the older veterans, will be the crucial tasks for Guardiola if he wants to awaken the beast that is Erling Haaland. In addition, Guardiola also needs to rectify his own mistakes from the summer transfer window. Seeking a suitable partner for Haaland is essential because this season, the Norwegian star has repeatedly stated that the packed schedule has exhausted him and prevented him from showcasing his best qualities. Bringing in the young Oscar Bob was planned to make a backup striker for Haaland, but the younger teammate from Haaland is just too young to lead the attacking line of such an ambitious and competitive club like Man City. A 2.0 version of his former player, Julian Alvarez, is the perfect vision in Guardiola's mind. At the same time, if he has a worthy competitor in his position, Haaland will also be motivated to improve his personal skills, making him even more perfect and more fearsome against any defense in the Premier League. It is not only Guardiola who has a task at hand. Haaland should also acknowledge his increasingly declining influence in Man City's overall play and, as such, reinvent his style of play. If he doesn't want to gradually fall behind his contemporaries, there is no need to look far. Haaland should look at the player who just overtook him in the Premier League's goal-scoring charts, Mohamed Salah, and use him as an inspiration for his own development. Salah is a complete striker who can both score and assist his teammates. Haaland also needs to learn how to use his physical advantage, participate in link-up play, hold off defenders, and create spaces for his teammates to exploit. That will make Man City's attack more unpredictable than ever when facing any defense. Haaland also needs to learn how to operate independently when Man City's midfield is struggling. That is a quality that every world-class number 9 needs to possess. Above all, the mentality of playing in big games is something that the striker, born in 2000, must pay attention to. His reputation as a player who performs well in minor matches has become a barrier that has often hindered him in the race for individual awards. Therefore, if he wants to touch the Ballon d'Or, his mental strength is something Haaland needs to hone. Man City is struggling, so Haaland's frequent scoring droughts are somewhat understandable. But adversity makes heroes, and Haaland needs to use this difficult situation as a springboard to help him become more complete. Only then will he deserve to sit at the same table with the best strikers in football history.